day. Happy Sunday to you all. Hope you're doing great. It's the first Sunday in the month of March, and my prayer is that we're all going to march forward, and we're all going to make progress this month. And God will bless you and I and increase us on all sides. Can I get an amen? So happy new month to every one of you watching me. And thank you to all who have worried over I lost my luggage from Paris to Cyprus. They finally brought the luggage to my hotel. So thank you for all the well wishes. And welcome to the new month. Today we want to look at how to retire a millionaire. Investing $5,000 every month. Okay? It's very important to understand that wealth creation is an intentional job. Becoming a millionaire or becoming a billionaire has to be intentional. It doesn't happen by luck. Yes, when you get there, you will also identify certain elements of favor, mercy of God that has kept you safe, that has brought you. For example, as success hits you, you realize that many died. Okay, many died along the way, and they didn't do anything wrong. They just died. So thank you. Say love your glasses. Thank you. So many died along the way. How come you are not one of them? But guess what? There are many people also who didn't become rich who also died. So it doesn't mean that everybody who was alive became rich. Hence, becoming successful has to be intentional. And until you get to that point where you make up your mind, I will be intentional about my wealth, I'll be intentional about me becoming successful, you will not get there. And it's that intentionality that for me has helped me. And I look back, I ask myself simple question. Why are some people godly but they are poor? May so rest in peace, Mr. Ibu, I was told passed on. Okay? This was a legend when it comes to acting in Nigerian Hollywood. Great man. And people who know him also said he was a good man. And these are some of the things that for me touches me when I look at life and realize that being good is not enough. I've seen very good people just die tragic death. I've seen very good people, struggle with life and become a victim of life. And their end wasn't disastrous. So there is a place of being intentional about how you want your life to go, how you want to live your life, how you want to end your days, how you want your finances to work. And what I noticed for me is that there is a season of life where some things are working for you, but if you don't build certain cultures, okay, you will end the latter part of your life in regret. So I give you an example. One of the things I made up my mind to start doing was to force myself to do investments that are above my current level. So I give you an example. If comfortably, I actually can invest, I'm just giving an example, can do a $1 million project, right? Successful, no need to pressure myself. Do you know what I'll force myself to go and start? $5 million project. Can anybody guess why I do this? Okay? Does anybody want to guess why? Okay, you can comfortably do right? You can do an investment or a project worth $1 million. Now you go and lay your hands on a $5 million project. Why do you think I do this? Can anybody guess? Okay? By the way, our topic today is how to retire a millionaire. investing $5,000 every month. I will soon get into that. But this is just like an intro. Kay says growth. Sylvia says because you can see the profit of your outlay. No, I'll go with K, right? I think K got it very right. It is to force the growth. The human nature cannot grow until something is forced. You know, there's a law that says that an object remains on a state of rest until a force is applied. So I really cannot know, okay, if I can handle a $5 million project until I stretch myself. And if I only stick to only doing, okay, and I only stick, if I only fix on my mind on, well, I'll just keep doing the $1 million project. Okay, but if I try and say, okay, let's even try a $5 million, what you end up seeing is that I end up achieving it and I will stretch. And that's really how growth occurs. You have to force yourself to do more than the usual. I'll give another example. How many of you have built a house before and you didn't have all the money to build the house when you started? Anybody? If you are in that category, just like me, I've done that a lot of times. Okay? A lot of times. How many of you eventually realize that it may take 2 months longer, 6 months longer, but you eventually built the house? Even though from the beginning you didn't have the money to finish the house. Anybody? Do I have anyone like that? Like me? Anyone? Now, how many of you notice that if you had not taken the risk to say I will build this house even though I don't have all my money, okay, I don't have all the money to complete it, you wouldn't have built the house. Okay, if you're waiting to when you will not have all the money. And the same thing with habits. When it comes to investments, when it comes to the concept of building wealth, you just have to start. And I'm saying this because many of you here will probably tell me, Dr. Stevie, there's no guarantee I can be investing $5,000 every month. Well, if it's $1,000 you can afford, start there. Okay? You will tell me, but I'm not sure I can invest X much. Because you know what happens? Once you start it, you can tell me that in my savings right now I only have $30,000. So by the 3rd month or the 6th month, I won't have another $5,000 to keep investing. The answer is start where you are. Just start it. Because once you start it, your brain begins to come up with ideas on how to sustain it, just like the case of the house I told you. When you started building the house, you didn't have all the money to complete the house. But over time, opportunities, projects, investments, ways to make money, sometimes people just even start favoring you better. And this is very powerful. You cannot become attractive in life until you become a good saver and a good investor, and you invest what you save. And I'll tell you the reason why. Real wealth comes from a place of pleasure. Okay? Come from a place of pleasure. Wealth is a product of pleasure. Everybody type it. Wealth is a product of pleasure. Everybody type it. Wealth is a product of pleasure. I want everybody to type it. Wealth is a product of pleasure. And you will not be a pleasurable person, okay, until you heavily become a saver and an investor. And I'll tell you why. When you don't build the culture of, I will ask you a question. I think this will explain better. How many of you are sad when your account begin to read red? Anybody like that? You are sad, okay, when your account begins to go down. Some people, their sad mood starts when their account reads $5,000. Some when it reads $1,000. Some, the sadness starts when it reads $100. Some, the sadness starts when it is $5, $10. Okay? How many of you are like that? you just notice this sadness once your account balance is very low. Okay? Now, here is this, and this is why people don't become richer. When you become an investor, when you become a person who save and then you invest what you save, right? You will still experience situation whereby your regular checking account, your regular savings account comes to that 0 or 1,000 or whatever. But get what happened to you? You remember the investment you've made. Oh, who get what I'm saying? You remember the savings you have. You remember where you put your money, right? And what happens? Joy pick up. Okay? You become grateful again that, okay, well, my normal checking account may be low, but guess what? I have bought a house somewhere. I'm buying a land somewhere. I have my investment with GTEx. Maybe you are investing with us, right? My money is working for me somewhere. And suddenly, your joy gets back on. Okay? I hope this makes sense at all, guys. If it makes sense, type it makes sense, it makes sense. So suddenly, you get back on with your happiness. Now, when I told you earlier that wealth is a function of what? It's a function of pleasure. That's what I mean. Many people have lost opportunity to be wealthy or to sustain wealth because of their sadness, their bad culture, their lack of joy. You know, and I'll give you a practical example. Let's assume you own a business and you need people to invest with you. Okay? You need people to invest with you. And I'm just giving an example. You need people to, invest with your company. And then you go frowning your face. How many of you know that you will not get that investment? If you agree, type I agree. Okay? Now, how many of you know that most times the reason why you are not able to go have that meeting about investment you need is because you are not in a happy place. Your account is already reading red by the time you went to ask for investment. Okay? And so what you've done is called self-sabotage. Unknowing to you, the reason they refused to invest wasn't because they didn't have the money to invest in your business. But they didn't invest because you were not a pleasurable person. And they are even scared of your attitude. And we're like, if we put our money into this person's business, right? If anything goes wrong, this person is not mature enough to handle it. So we'd rather tell the person, well, we don't have money to invest. So many of us have lost opportunity for wealth, opportunity to grow our business, opportunity to get people to invest with us because we are sad people and the sadness was induced by the current state of our accounts. But once you build a culture of savings and investment, you are able to moderate your emotional status, your emotional states, your emotional feeling, where you are now consistent when it comes to how you treat people, how you relate with people, how you build your relationship with people. You don't go meet people with a very desperate culture, with a desperate attitude, with a desperate feeling that gets people to say, I am not sure I want to do business with this person. Secondly, is also the way to even attract wealthy people most times, from my experience, is to give to them. Now, you are even struggling, your account balance is red. You will not even be able to think of, oh, I want to go and meet this person to invest in my business. What gifts do I take to them? Okay? So that they can see that I'm not a parasite. Okay? I'm not a parasite. I'm not just coming with the mindset of come and give me money, come and give me money, come and invest in my business. I'm also going to meet them from the place of the little I have, I'm also willing to share. Is this making sense, guys? If it makes sense, type it makes sense, it makes sense. By the way, I got to Cyprus last night, and my first time in Cyprus and my first walk, just walking around the city. And There's a lot I'm studying about the culture. Tomorrow, I want to visit a place they call the Tomb of Kings, right? So I'm told this place is where kings were buried, so I want to go see it. But I'm learning a lot about the culture here in Cyprus, the division, the political division, and the lessons for us to learn in Africa as well. Okay, so how do you retire a millionaire investing $5,000 every month? Are you ready for me? If you're ready, type I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. Come on, guys. I need a very interactive class. If you're ready, type I'm ready, I'm ready. Okay? Type I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. How do you retire a millionaire investing $5,000 every month? I already taught you that even if you can't do this with 5,000, start with 1,000, start with 2,000, start at your level. The rule is start. Okay? At least I have to give an example. So let's assume, and I will start with investing. You can start anywhere in the world. Again, different companies, different. And I've done several videos where I taught you where you can invest, companies you can invest, how types of investment. So this class is not to tell you where to invest. Go and watch my previous video. You can go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. I've done several videos on types of investment you can do. You can go to Dr. S. Akintayo on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and watch the video. So there you will see the type of investment you can do. This class is not to tell you the type, it's just to break down what can happen. So let's say you have a low risk investment, a low to mid risk investment that is giving you 8% every year. Everybody's type 8% every year. And I'm showing the power of compound interest and why many of us need to know that we must take seriously the concept of investing with low risk and mid risk. So let's say you are investing and it's just 8% every year you're getting. But every month you're putting in $5,000 and you're using the principle of compound interest, okay? Because compound interest is how people become wealthy. Okay, the eligible bachelor, Bidemi Olaoba, good to see you. I saw the laying of hands and laying of leg that happened in Ghana. So you see that I'm not the only one who observed. But thank you for joining. So 8% you are investing every year, and you're just putting in, $5,000 every month, and you're to get 8% every year. Now, what you will do is that for the first 5 years, you put 10 years, sorry, you are putting it at that level. Now, after the first 10 years, what will it amount to? I want all of us to do the calculation. At a compound interest of 8% every year for 10 years, if somebody puts in $5,000 for a period of 10 years, what will it amount to? Can somebody help us do the calculation quickly? What will it amount to? Right? Compound interest of 8%, $5,000 every month for 10 years. What do we get? Come on. What do we get? Somebody say 50,000. You're wrong. I'm not sure it's 50,000. That should give us about 129,000, approximately $130,000 in 10 years. At 8% yearly compound interest, that should give us, no, that's not 2 million. Your calculation is wrong. The 8% is a yearly return. Okay? But it's a compound interest. And so let's just assume totally you are investing $60,000 every year for 10 years, right? $60,000 every year for 10 years, right? That gives you, because you only have 5,000 every month, that gives you a total of 129,000, approximately 130,000. Now, if you then withdraw your 130,000 at the 10th year and then reinvest it for a higher return of 10%, okay, a higher return of 10%, and then you put it in for another 10 years. Can anybody do the calculation? $130,000 reinvested at the compound interest of 10% every year. What does it give us in another 10 years? Anybody? Can we do the calculation? Okay, because your first 10 years of investing, you raise the first 130,000 compound interest, and then you put it back into an investment that can give you 10%, so 2% higher than what you used to get before. Okay, 2% higher than what you used to get before. So what will that give you? Come on, do I have mathematicians, investors, calculators? Yeah, people who can do good calculation. Anybody with the answer? Okay, $130,000 invested. Are we together? And then you are still putting in your regular $5,000 every month. Okay, but you invest 130,000 and then you continue to add. In the space of another 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, you should be able to raise another, if I'm correct, over 500,000. Okay, you have another $500,000, about 600,000 thereabout. Am I correct? Somebody can help me do the calculation. Or is it one? No. I think it's 300 and something thousand. Anybody who is good with a calculation, all of you are watching me. Anybody with a good calculation? So that should give us, I think, a little over $300,000. Now, you put that, let's say, approximately $350,000. Thank you, Mr. Iban. Thank you for your calculation. Very correct. Then you put in that $150,000 all over again. Okay? You put in I don't know what's hello, somebody is saying our calculation is wrong. Tolu says $60,000 is 600,000 in 10 years without any interest. Let's see. Okay, let's do the calculation. At this point, I need to bring out my calculator. Yeah, let's do the calculation without even the interest, so that we don't confuse ourselves. So 60,000 every year times 10. That gives us, and you are right. Thank you, Tolu. That already gives us 600,000 without any interest, right? Can you calculate the compound interest, Tolu? Because I think we will rely on you now for your calculation. I think your calculation is way better than all of us. Okay? I didn't like maths until I grew up and I became a businessman. Now I like maths. Okay. So that's 600,000. Now what's at the interest rate of 8% every year? Okay. What will be the compound interest? What's the compound interest at 8% yearly? Okay, Tolu, you are hereby appointed as our calculator. Anybody else can do it anyway. So, what will be the interest so that we know what the total is? The capital alone without interest is already 600,000. And this tells you the power of savings. The power of savings. The book I want to recommend to all of us today is called Richest Man in Babylon. Everybody type it. Richest Man in Babylon. That's the book I'm recommending. Richest Man in Babylon. That's the book I'm recommending. The Richest Man in Babylon. So Yaquinla says 48,000 for 600k. Are we sure? That's the 8% that you will get in 10 years compound interest. Okay, because remember, your first year of investing $60,000, you are supposed to get a profit of $6,000, right? And so the second year you are investing $66,000, okay? And for another 8% of that $66,000, and then compound interest. Remember, so what happened? The benefit of compound interest that you are reinvesting the interest because you are not withdrawing the interest. Okay, and all I'm trying to show us is the power of compound interest and how our money can really, really turn around. Sometimes the problem, and that's what you learn from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. The problem is that we look down on what we have. We look down on our seed, right? You're saying to yourself, how much is the money I have? Okay, the money is too small. It cannot achieve anything, right? And that's really where the problem is, because you are looking down on the seed. And the seed does not produce just the seed. The seed leverage on the principle of compound interest. Every seed has a child. Okay? And when a seed is producing, it is producing with its child. It has children attached to it. So you are not just getting what was sown, you are getting the seeds afterwards. Okay? Anybody helping us with the calculation, please? So, but let's go with just even the 600,000. We leave the 8% on the side. Okay? But if we were to do 8% of 600,000 just for the purpose of this class, how much is that? I know that's not really what it's supposed to be, because you won't get that total. It's appreciated over the years. But can somebody give us, what is the 8% of 600,000? What is that? Anyone? 8% of $600,000. What does that give us? 8% of $600,000. What does that give us? Anyone? I'm waiting. I love to ask us questions because it gets us engaged. I noticed that on social media we're all busy and sometimes we're cherry picking events. And if you don't engage people, tell them to comment, tell them to chat. Okay? They are not specifically engaged with your own particular training. Okay, so Ade Yoke says that should give us $48,000 on the 600, right? So I will assume that's 600. Okay, so now at the 10th year, let's assume we have $650,000 to reinvest. Okay, $650,000 to reinvest at the 10th year. Now, if you invest $650,000 at 10% interest rate, what will be the returns after 10 years? $650,000 at 10% interest rate. 10% interest rate. What will you have? What will you have at the end of 10 years? Noting that you also have another. Noting that you also have another accruing 600,000. Remember, you are investing $5,000 every month. Technically $60,000. So at the end of the new 10 years, you already have a 600,000. Technically, you can call it savings that has gone towards that investment. Okay, now you have also this $650,000 you're already a millionaire in your 20th year. And if you can repeat that again, because what then happened in your 20th year, you have over $1.2 million to invest. Now you put in your $1.2 million all over again. One of these days I'll use a board and we'll do the calculation on a board, and you will be shocked how much you have. Now let me ask a question. How many of us watching me here, okay, those of you who are on this live call, are 60 years and above, right? If you're 60 years and, okay, let's do 50. How many of you are 50 years and above? Just type me. Those of you watching me, if you are 50 years and above, just type me. I just want to, indicate. Those of you are 50 years and above. Okay? How many of you are 50 years and above? Of course, if you're also 60 years and above, you can indicate. Now, those of you are 50 and 60 years and above. Now, your, let's say, 401k, I don't know what they call it in Africa, or what other parts of the world you are, maybe in the UK, maybe in Europe. What do they call, what you have? Okay? I don't know what the name is. Do you agree with me that no matter how much you are putting into your 401k, you will not be able to have this kind of money at the end of your retirement? Okay? Those of you who are 50 and 60 years and above, kindly agree or disagree with me. Just confirm what I'm saying. Okay? Those of you who are either 50 or 60 years, just let me know. At the end of your retirement, which you are now 60, you are now 65 years old, how many of you agree with me that you can hardly retire and say you are pulling out $3 million, $5 million, okay, as what has accrued from an investment you've done? Because your K1, your 401k, most people don't know, does not even give you 5% returns every year. It doesn't even give you, right? And in fact, sometimes there are still deductibles that are coming on your 401k, on your retirement accounts, and all these various accounts many of us are doing. And it has positioned many people in a situation where, Joanne says not even 60,000 pounds comes out of that. Do you see what we're talking about? So the question is, why do we then keep doing it? Why do we, continue to put our hope on something that won't work and say, one day I'll retire, I'll have money? No, that's not true. Okay, that's not true. You are not on the path of wealth creation. And that's why, for me, I tell people, you have to understand how financial intelligence work. You must take your money, put it into a source of returns that where you can also get what we call compound interest. Because the money you're thinking is not big, is a small amount of money, okay? With the principle of compound interest, will be worth so much 30 years from today. Okay, 30 years from today. But it has to be a decision you make. It's not something you just will jump into. You have to make up your mind and say, while I'm working, while I own my... And this is also for entrepreneurs. Because a lot of us who are business owners... Okay, I'll give you an example. How many of you know at least 3 businesses that were wiped off during COVID-19? If you know, type I know. How many of you know at least 3 businesses? And I'm talking of businesses that probably had existed for the last 10 years. Some had been existing for 20 years. COVID-19 came and the business was totally wiped out. How many of you know at least 3 businesses like that? If you do tap, I do, I know. Come on, talk to me, guys. At least 3 businesses wiped out, totally gone, okay, during COVID-19. Could not come back up again after COVID, right? How many of you also can remember at least one industry that COVID-19 rendered useless? An industry. Okay, at least I know an industry that boomed during COVID-19. Zoom. For example, everybody suddenly realized that, oh boy, I don't really need to go for events. I can do the event on Zoom, right? Suddenly, so Zoom became, I think Zoom valuation ran into billions of dollars during COVID-19 because it became a new consumer behavior, right? Another business that boomed was nose masks. Another business that boomed during COVID-19 was e-commerce. People saw that there was no point going to any store anymore, right? Just order and they deliver. It was safer, okay? But in the same way, many businesses disappeared. Netflix, of course, grew off the roof, Abby. Hand wash, TikTok, we can go on and on and on. Different platforms that boomed. But in the same way, is that during same COVID-19, many companies stopped working. So where we miss it as entrepreneurs, as business owners, is that many business owners do not put a structure for the founders. You're a founder of a business, you're a founder of a non-profit, you don't put any structure for your own retirement. You don't put any structure for your own business, for your own investment and savings. You keep believing the business will keep running, the business will keep paying your salary, the business will not die. That's what we're all praying for. Okay? But you must put a structure for your own personal finance, even as a business owner, even as a startup founder. Okay? There's a whole different ball game about your own personal finance. You know, it's two different things. And this is where people miss it. They think because I own a business, the business is what XYZ. There's a difference between your company and you. There's a difference between your money and that of your company. Because remember, in real sense, your company money, okay, it's investors' money. You are one of the investors. You may be the major investor, but your company money is not totally all yours. And anything can still happen to business. Things you don't plan for, the way COVID washed out several businesses. Some people were multi-millionaires before COVID, and they became beggars after COVID, right? Some people became richer. I became way, way richer after COVID. Our company grew by over 500% during COVID because of certain decisions we made. Okay? So, but for me, what I've learned over the years is that my own personal finance has to be worked on, no matter how big or small my company is. So I'll give you an example. I'm an author. I've written 40 books. I make money every week from Amazon selling books. Okay? I'm a public speaker. I charge as much as $20,000 to speak at events. Those are extra income coming from me personally. I have, different investment, high, mid, and low, that I've done for myself, not my company, personal ones. So that, God forbid, anything happen to my businesses, I am still protected. And that's the attitude you need to have towards investment. Unfortunately, many of us don't do that. You just say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Our company was valued at $100 million. Well, thank God for that. Nothing wrong that your company was valued at $1 billion. How about you as a person? What are the moves that you're making? Even with your company. I'm into real estate, for example. I realize that a lot of real estate developers don't make decisions to buy in the estates that they are building. That's another mistake a lot of people make, right? They don't make decisions to buy in the estate they are building. So when I started real estate development, I refused to withdraw my salary as well as my commission. I gave the company as a loan, okay, and they had to give me land equivalent, and is 9 years later, okay, I am now entitled to massive plots of land in various places. We have estates that is my personal one. So that way, the day we are doing landlord association meeting in the estates that my company built, I will appear as one of the landlords, not as developer. How many of you have heard of stories where people who built an estate were kicked out of the estate they built? They couldn't visit the estate they developed. If you have heard that story, type I've heard of it. If you haven't, type I haven't. Where people were the ones who developed an estate, and they that developed the estate cannot visit the same estate they developed. If you have heard of that story, type I've heard of it. If you haven't, type I haven't. And I've seen many of such. And the mistake by the developers who fall victim of things like this is because when they were developing, they forgot to realize that as you are selling the land, you are no longer the owner as you are gradually selling. Okay, so you bought, let's say, 1,000 plots. By the time you are done selling 1,000 plots, okay, you don't own the estate again. And the owner of the estate, the owners who bought the estate from you, can gang up and say, hey, we don't need you to manage the estate for us. We are the owners now. We want to manage the estate ourselves. And before you say Jack Robinson, ladies and gentlemen, you developed the estate, but you can't even enter the estate you developed. And I've heard several stories like that. So one of the wise things I learned over time is I'm also an investor in the estates that I'm building. I'm also my wife, the same thing. My wife is buying, okay, in some of our estates with her money, fill form, pay gradually, just like everybody else. So be wise enough as you grow your business, okay, to become an investor, to have other sources of income aside the businesses that you own. I own real estate companies, but guess what? There are certain real estate companies I invested in that are not even mine, okay, that I invested in them too. It's just wisdom. If I see something is working, I want to put my money in it. If I see something is doing well, I want to put my money in it. And that is how years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you will retire a very rich person, right? Because you have had your money in at least 20 businesses. So let me give us an assignment. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you put your money in at least 30 companies in the next 30 years. How many of you can do that? How many of you want to go on that challenge? 30 companies in 30 years. Putting your money in 30 companies in 30 years. Some of the companies are Fortune 500 companies. Tesla, Microsoft, Google, right? Some of the companies might be new companies, startup companies, who are just starting, but the concept is unique. They are raising funds, and you just say, hey, you know what, let me put my money. Some of the companies should be real estate companies. Somebody is about to start a development somewhere and they need money, for that project. We are raising $150 million. We have an institutional investors giving us 70% of the money. We are, crowdfunding 15% of the money. where people can invest and they are entitled to yearly returns. Why not put your money into such? Okay? Because this is a kind of investment that is backed by real estate, backed by something visible, something you can touch, backed by a land, backed by something real, right? Putting your money into something like that is a game changer. Absolutely a game changer. Absolutely a game changer, right? So, but again, it's a decision and you have to be intentional about it. You have to convince yourself this is the direction you want to go, because a lot of times we hear about things and we're just, we just talk about it and we actually don't do anything. But it is the day you wake up your mind and say, you know what, enough of talking, I want to do something, I want to take action. That's the day your life turn around. Have you gotten value today, guys? If you got value, tap I got value. Come on, talk to me. If you got value, tap I got value. I like this landscaping. So I saw this. Let me show you what I'm taking a picture of this landscape. So they plant grass here. This is like very place for walking and taking bikes. Now they didn't interlock it, thereby saving some money, but yet it still has a good feel. And then these ones are tarred road, and then they interlock these ones. Okay, so I kind of love the conservative decision there. Okay, can see a lot of you say thank you, got value. Thank you too for listening. Thank you too for learning today. And so what we did, apologies that our calculation was bad today, but what we're able to prove is that if you invest $5,000 in 30 years, you're a multi-millionaire. You'll be worth at least $3 to $5 million. If you start as low as 8% annual returns, 10% annual returns, 12% annual returns. Even if you start at 6% annual returns, the principle of compound interest, okay, guarantees that in 30 years, you are a multi-millionaire. And that is really how to change your life forever, okay? That's how to change your life forever. It's about compound interest. Let me wrap up by encouraging you guys on something I noticed. Just still talking about this compound interest. For some of my companies, there are years where I'm bothered about our income. I'm just giving an example. Let's say we do $200,000 every month, and I want us to do $300,000 every month. And there are some years I will force come up with different strategies, and we never exceed $200,000. Okay? Guess what? 2 years later, the same company is doing over $400,000 every year. Now, what that taught me is that there is a principle of compound marketing, compound sales, compound visibility. In other words, it's compound benefit of longevity as a business. In other words, what this means is that there is a season where, as a result of how long you've been in the business, a time will come. There are certain sales that just begin to come naturally, okay? Without you even necessarily putting too much work. But because people have seen you, because many people watch you. Today I see people reach out to me and say, Stephen, I've been following you for 3 years. I've been following you for 5 years. Some people tell me I've been following you for 7 years. Now I'm ready to do business with you. And I'm like, so what were you waiting the last 7 years? What were you waiting the last 3 years? What were you waiting the last? Because some people feel, bro, people will talk like this, very soon they will crash. You know, there's no guarantee. But they go 1 year, you didn't crash. 2 years, 3 years, you keep going bigger. So you know what? At this point, I need to join this movement. I need to be part of what's going on here. This is obviously something that is going to last, that is staying for long. It's not a fluke. So it's powerful how your ability to be consistent with savings, consistent with investment, consistent, okay, with your career or anything you're doing, and how that gives you something we call compound benefits, right? That years later, some things just begin to happen to you that is not even as a result of more extra effort. So I remember one time I was in Paris and I tried to do a hangout in Paris, and I think maybe one person showed up or two persons showed up. Okay, last week I was in Paris in less than 1 week notice, and we had to cut down the people to come see me because I was using my living room and it couldn't take more than 9 people. The same. So what changed? Is the same Stephen Akintayo, right? So what changed? How come now there are more people who want to meet the same Stephen Akintayo? Okay? Meanwhile, before now, the same Stephen, and it's the same thing I've been teaching. If you follow my videos all this way, it's the same thing, it's the same me, but I'm benefiting from the place of consistency. Okay, I'm benefiting now from compound benefits of just doing it over and over and over and over. And people say, you know what? I need to do business with that guy. He's been consistent. He's been there. And for me, that is how life works. So the same way, those of you watching me, life has a way of rewarding you. Life has a way of helping you to become a multi-millionaire in dollars when you are also consistent with your savings, consistent with your investment, and you hang in there. It's not today you save, tomorrow you chicken out. Okay? Today you believe in investment, tomorrow you convince yourself out of investment. You put your money into a business, the day you heard the shares of Tesla is coming down, you go and withdraw your Tesla shares. Right? A double-minded person cannot go far in life. And many of you are double-minded investors. Right? Today you want to buy land, tomorrow once somebody say they stole my own land, your heart is out of it. Right? It means you are not really convinced. There's nothing that will happen to the real estate sector. If you still ask me, what business will you put your money into? I'll still tell you, real estate. Because I'm very convinced, okay, inconsequential of economic conditions, inconsequential of what people say, inconsequential of where the crowd is going. In fact, I refuse to go with the crowd as a rule. When it comes to investment, I tell people, don't follow the crowd. For example, a lot of people have said to me, how come there is high interest rate in America and that's the time you want to build over 400,000 units? And I said, because I don't go with the crowd. I have always learned over the years, once you can master the art of going the opposite direction of majority, you will go far in life. Let me say that again. Once you can master the art of going the opposite direction of majority, then you will go far in life. I'll repeat it again. Once you can master the art of going opposite direction of majority, then you go far in life. So as a rule, even when it comes to human beings, if everybody begins to hate a person, okay, I'm curious to know more about that person. I kid you not. If everybody begin to talk negative about somebody, I'm curious. That's when I start researching more about the person. Because ordinary people don't attract attention. Okay? You must be doing something extraordinary to get everybody angry and everybody talking about you. You must be different to get everybody to talk. And I can sense when those conversations are coming from the place of jealousy, from the place of envy, okay, where the people who are constantly talking against that person are just jealous of who the person is. Just jealous, just have an issue with the growth rate, just have an issue with the innovation the person brings to the marketplace. So I can sense those things, and when I sense those things, easy for me to say, you know what, I think there's something about this person. And sometimes I go meet them, sometimes I go reach them. So that's been my life. Thank you for listening. Remember to follow me on YouTube, Dr. Ezra Kintayo on YouTube. If you want to invest in our US project, send a DM or reach out to the numbers attached to this video, and let's do great things together. Remember, your future is in your hands. Okay? It is still you that will either make yourself wealthy or make yourself poor. It's your decision. I love you all. From Cyprus, God bless you.